The context of the gospel that we just heard proclaimed is the episode where a woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. There's no doubt that she's guilty of the sin. So the scribes and the Pharisees brought this woman before Jesus and asked him, "What shall we do?" According to the law of Moses, she is to be stoned to death. It is important to note that when the scribes and the Pharisees brought this woman before Jesus, their main intention was not so much to condemn the woman, but to lay a trap before Jesus. If Jesus was to say, "Yes, condemn the woman, go ahead and stone her," Jesus would be portraying himself and contradicting the gospel that he has been proclaiming. The gospel of mercy and compassion to sinners and those who are suffering. But if Jesus were to say, "No, you should not stone her," then he would be accused of proclaiming a teaching that is against the teachings of the law of Moses. Jesus saw through the trap of the scribes and the Pharisees. And so instead of replying to them directly, he bent down, started writing on the ground, as though to gesture to them that I know your trap and your evil intention. And in writing, he may be indicating that I have a new law of compassion. We have to see that there are several lessons we can learn from this important episode of the gospel. If we condemn others, we have to realize that we too are sinners. Do we deny that we are sinners when we want to condemn others for their sins? It is a fact that we too are sinners. And when we sin, do we also not need the mercy of God to forgive us? That is why Jesus always proclaimed in the gospel, we condemn the sin, but never the sinner. If we look into our hearts and our lives, on many occasions when we sin, actually we are not that bad after all, because very often the source of sin is our emotions, the complexity of our emotions that react in the face of sin. For example, if somebody were to hurt us, what would we do? We would react in anger. We want justice. We want revenge. We quarrel. And in the end, what happens? The relationship is destroyed. People are destroyed. And that is why Jesus is proclaiming an invitation for all of us to open our hearts to transcend our emotional reaction and respond with a compassionate heart for those who have sinned against us, because very often they do not intend to sin and cause us harm. When we have a heart that is able to transcend our emotion and begin to allow the compassionate love of Jesus to give us that needed inspiration and strength and wisdom to be that compassionate Jesus to people, then the sinner will experience through our compassionate love of Christ a conversion of heart. In that conversion of heart of the sinner, we too will find peace in our own hearts and in our own lives. And so Jesus reminds us today that all of us are sinners. And we are all called to be more like Him in many ways, to forgive, to have a compassionate heart for those who sin and as those who have hurt us. So that as we live the inspiration of what Jesus has proclaimed and through His life, we will be instrument of God's peace, love, and compassion in today's world.